We are ready to jump into the first series of the day. That means no Techies versus Na'Vi here in the upper division of the CIS DPC League. And you are, of course, watching ESL 1 powered by Intel. We are joined by Purge on the big screen. I'm still with Kyle and ODPixel here on the desk as well. Purge, please give me some more glimmers of hope for no Techies, because these other guys, they've just been trash talking them all day.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of see why they don't have a lot of confidence in them after their last series, but I do have a glimmer of hope. I thought that the pressure that they applied on the map, despite losing the games, maybe semi-draft related, I thought that the organized pressure that they put on the map clearly showed that they're working together as a team. So while it didn't work out, it seems to me like they have some stuff going for them.
Thank you.
But they're already outdrafted, Chiefs.
Well, the chat.
They're already outdrafted.
Pick good heroes.
Pick good heroes.
Good teams pick good heroes.
Good team. Thank you, Purge. He said it. The man knows. Nick's first pick.
Yeah, but this is good.
And then the Chen follow-up.
But this is good. Of no Techies, they're also picking good heroes. Nick's the stats in OD we saw across the regions. This hero has a very good win rate. It's very strong right now.
Creep army, super effective against enemies, okay? This is... Currently, Na'Vi have Pikachu up against a Gyarados and a Magikarp, all right? That's the scenario here. Who do you think is favored?
Well, that's bad for Gyarados. He takes quad electrical damage, so...
That's correct, because he's a water and flying type.
Wait, I never knew how that worked. I thought super effective was just double damage. It's super effective quad damage.
That's the thing.
They're super effective also.
There is. What, in the originals?
That is.
It never said that was super effective.
No.
You clearly did not have the strategy guide.
That's true. I believe in later expansions...
Well, the proper paper manual.
Well, later expansions,
with the magazine.
They made it clear it was like super critical or something, but in the original version, it would just say super, or like it was highly versus super.
No, it
That's
only
what
said it was super effective. There wasn't a different phrase, was there? It was only super effective.
No, Owen's correct, but the way it didn't specify that there was quad damage potential. Yeah.
Oh wow, I feel like
I've
been lied
to. Bad to ice.
That's why it took you so many extra hours to beat Red.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's why
ground and rock Pokemon were so bad against water. Because like water would quad them every time.
Well, at least there's no quad damage in Dota 2.
Well, that's the thing,
That's
though.
the new rune in the new patch. Watch out for it.
When you add Beastmaster and Chen together, you get
quad damage?
You get an army, okay? And I don't know how much you've studied medieval warfare, but typically, the person or leader with the most people would win. And in this case, Beastmaster Chen, you're going to have Necrobook up rushed, you're going to have the Chen army, you're going to have sustain, you'll have a mech at 10 minutes into the game, plus the Hand of God. And I mean, talk about unfair abilities. The literal Hand of God.
That's great, Kyle. So I think the real thing that's going well for Na'Vi with their massive units is that no Techies doesn't have very much AoE right now. And that's definitely one of OD's weaknesses outside of his ulti. He's going to have to use Meteor Hammer to clear creeps. And so they're going to need some counter push in their next couple picks. Everyone dead over there?
No. I totally agree. I was hoping, well, I was kind of fearing, rather, another analogy from Kyle, and I'm glad that didn't happen. So we have a Lycan band out, as well as a Weaver, a Troll, and a Rubik in the second ban phase. If we're looking for wave clear and creep clear on the side of no Techies, is there anything already with the first two picks that we feel Na'Vi is lacking?
No, I mean, it's just really, this is just some of the
great
best
opening.
two picks. Yeah, Chen Beastmaster. There's Na'Vi. They've probably got the best Beastmaster player in the region, with General as well. On top of the fact that these two heroes already are just a brilliant start to a draft.
Beastmaster is kind of like the LeBron James of Dota 2. It doesn't really matter where you put him in the lineup. He'll find a way to be effective. You can lane anywhere. You're a strong laner. You support whatever, you make the people, the players, and the heroes around you better because of all those auras and because of the space and vision you provide for them around the map. Plus, it's BKB piercing disable, which is really nice against an OD if it's a 1 or a 2. Like, there's really not much you can do if you just get roared in the face.
Well, let's see. They ban out the Tidehunter. Would, of course, been able to help a little bit with the clear of all the little things.
Is Shadow Shaman in the pool? Indeed it is.
Indeed it is.
It is.
I've got a premonition.
Yeah, that would...
But so far, Roger has played both Shaman and Chen. Because I don't think Always Wanna Fly plays Chen, right? I'm sure that Always Wanna Fly plays Shaman. I don't doubt that.
I know he plays Chen. I've seen him play Chen, but I think Rogers might just be better. And to be fair, some teams like it a lot as a 5, like Puppy and Kuro notably played for their teams, but they do also take a lot of farm. Like they don't play it as some hard 5. Plus wards are free nowadays. Honestly, 5s are just spoiled. You don't have to get the courier, you don't have to upgrade it.
There it is.
How many sentries we gotta buy? Come on, dude.
Bada bing,
It is
bada
not
boom.
free.
Yeah, but this is the Na'Vi bread and butter. So
yeah, at least no Techies ban Lycan. You know, we saw
That's
this
true.
lineup come out for Na'Vi the other day in the series against Team Unique, and they got these 3+ Lycan. So this is, no Techies are improving on the draft that Unique tried against Na'Vi.
Hey, Creep Killer. One thing that we should be wary of, because if you're talking about the series that we saw Na'Vi play the other day, where they looked very strong, their last pick was the mid Doom.
Yep.
And
Boy, it's still in, isn't it? Yeah.
Very
It is.
scary and still available.
Real solid. The Wyvern is your old school counter to these sort of Beastmaster Chen pressure lineups.
You say old school as in you don't rate it nowadays as much, or?
We don't see Wyvern for a reason, right? The trouble is you don't really make too many moves early game. Your lane is rather weak, and it just doesn't feel like the hero does enough. Like the ult is nice. It's a long cooldown though. And I feel like the game has changed. Because back in the day, you remember Wyverns would just plant themselves at their safe lane, spam W, defend the tower for 5 minutes? It just doesn't feel like that's viable anymore. And PL, this is great pick. We saw this yesterday in the Liquid Enigma series. What's up, Kev?
I just love that like they saw the first 2 No Techies picks, and every single pick was just like a lot of shit to deal with.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, they're like, well, this is really clear. Just pick for Death Ball. Good luck.
Yep. I remember Moo talking about he would always call it trash, like how hard it was to deal with. Like during scrims, like they've just got so much trash. Like we need to clear it, right? And in this case, you've got illusions, creeps, summons, necrobooks, wards, and that is super effective against OD specifically because you are a right-click hero. You orb attack things. Orb is not like you can't hit all of the trash. It's just not possible. You're going to the dump, and all you've got is a broom. It won't work.
It's a broom with like an inch surface area or something. It's like a really thin broom, you know? You only hit one thing at a time.
So what can they still pick? They still have 2 heroes though. Is there not something that can deal with that easier than that? Because this OD could be flexible, could be mid, could be offlane, right?
I just hope that they're not going to be looking at the PL and going, hey, Sven's good carry, right? It has cleave. We played it before.
Yeah, they did play it before.
It's, sure, it has to cleave against the illusions, but it's still a Sven. I just hope they don't go the way that they did in the other series where they went for that 5th pick Sven.
Yep.
The best hero would be Timber, but that was banned out first too by Na'Vi.
Yes.
What about another battle for your hero? Something like
you have to,
Ricky or something.
Ricky's good, right?
But the thing is, yes, when you have Ags Battle Fury, but before that, how do you clear the army? If Wyvern dies,
it's down to your mid laner. You know, they're going to pick some sort of mid laner with heavy D push. And at least
it's like conceptually, it's not like D push. It's the trouble that like Na'Vi represents so much extra damage because of their friends that they can summon or spawn. I mean, and if you can't deal with, like, you just need to deal real damage. I just don't know if you can do that unless. That's a good start. But it's just so squishy. It's what we saw actually Enigma ban in the second phase yesterday.
Yeah. Sure.
When they were planning on going for this PL. So arguably the best hero against him.
I actually like it though, because you're definitely right that it is squishy, but they've got both OD Banish and Winter Wyvern Cold Embrace and Winter Wyvern Ulti to back him up. So I actually think it's a perfect pick in this situation because they can actually buy him time because it is like almost all physical damage.
Yep, that's a good point. Pugna, pretty effective for Na'Vi. You don't really want to pick it into the Nyx, but it would be quite nice against the Lesh. I could also see maybe something like an Ember Spirit coming out. But yeah, that's the perfect pick, though. I will say that is probably the only thing No Techies can pick that actually answers the PL and all of the creeps. Because an overfarmed Lesh will just kill everything with the backup he's got on the squad already.
What if he gets Ags as well this game? The ethereal on yourself, or ethereal on yourself and your opponents, because if they do stay pretty heavily physical damage, it would be like another thing on top. You can't use it with BKB is the biggest negative, of course, so he could still be disabled while he does this, but He's got options here.
In terms of Battle Fury buyers, I'm seeing like the Viper band. Maybe they're prepping something with some solid passives. Would you be happy with the PA for no techies?
They're going to bristle.
Pretty strong this game.
Oh,
even the bristle.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they do need a solid frontliner, and bristle would be the one to run in and sort of tank it all.
With Tide Band, I think that's what you're looking at. You just need somebody that can get in there and make space for the Wyvern to next, because they don't really want to initiate fights. They want to play the outskirts. As a Wyvern, you don't ever want to lead with your ulti, and you want to be able to give proper vision and engagement for your Shrek.
10 seconds.
Bloodseeker it is.
There it is.
Not
Start
really your
Bristle.
frontliner.
I was close.
Doesn't
It's
buy
pretty tanky,
Battle
though.
Fury.
It buys Maelstrom.
I actually,
Okay.
I kind of like it too, because if Shaman ever goes on somebody, you just throw the blood right, and it's like their engagement's going to end a lot earlier than they wanted to.
It's also really nice with Leshrac, because he's your damage answer, and now you can blood rage him.
Ooh, yeah, that'll be really good. 30 spell amp. That's insane.
And the Bat made it all the way to 10th pick here for
Mid-bat.
Iceberg.
Yeah,
Mid-Bat.
That's good.
And it's
gonna
offlane
be the wild
OD, mid-lesh. It's going to come down to Roger, I feel. His rotations, his movement. Do they get early tower advantage?
I thought if Bat wins his lane or stomps the game a little bit, that's going to be the big problem. But
yeah,
we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much, Kevin, for joining us for this draft. Now, we painted a little bit of a picture before the series, and the picture was very heavily favored towards Na'Vi. I am curious to hear from my panelists if, with the draft being done, you both feel the same way. Cal, you want to go first?
It is more even than I thought. The thing to keep in mind is that you still have a ton of early game pressure on Na'Vi, and PL is still the hard carry in this game.
Yeah.
Yes, Leshrac is a good matchup, but late game, PL 3-4 items in, especially with that new Eternal Shroud, the upgraded blink, like, you will win the game for your team. And if Na'Vi can get that early lead, they can capitalize on mistakes so much easier, because Beastmaster Chen, like, a couple pickoffs, okay, that's a tower, 2 towers, Roche. That's game.
Yeah, I don't dislike what no Techies are doing. I think compared to what we saw them do in the drafts the other days, this is a whole lot better. But no, I'm very scared for them going against Na'Vi, especially with that last pick Bat. I think one of the reasons why Iceberg's Dooms is so strong is because his timings and movements are just so on point. And I think he can play Bat in a very similar manner. And as Kev says, you know, if he's able to smash the mid, which I think he will, he's just going to take over this game as this Bat Rider.
All right. All eyes on Iceberg. All eyes on that mid lane. Let's find out what's going to happen in the opening game to this series with Capitalist and Fogged.
Thank you, Shiva. That's right. It's going to be a very important series, I think, for No Techies. Fogged, as they've already lost against Live to Win. If they want to have any chance of being in that top 3 groups, they kind of need to take down one of the big dogs, which is either Na'Vi or Virtus Pro.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm pretty pleasantly surprised. You know, I'm happy to see it too, because it is solo, so you have to expect that he understands and knows what he's doing with these drafts.
Whoa, Fogged. Hold up. I'm sorry, but were you not listening to the panel? Did you not listen to Kyle? Kyle said he was gone for 6 months. There's no coming back. You can never come back and be a good captain once you've taken a break.
Depends on how you want to look at captain. Like in-game calls and stuff like that, the map hasn't changed too much, and I feel like some hero counters, it's still relevant, right? Like we see this Lash pick versus the PL, the Wyvern versus the Summons. You can tell, yeah, he's got his concept down for his team. If they're going to be able to execute it, that's a different story, because I feel like it is a little bit harder to execute on their side. Navi's is just, it's very their style, right? So.
All right, well, another thing that I know Kyle does not like is this OD3 position. It feels like something that No Techies was kind of like, in some ways, forced into. They either had to do a Leshrac safe lane carry or move this OD somewhere else besides mid. They're going to be putting it off lane and putting the Lesh mid in this case. Are you okay with this? What do you think about the 3-position OD?
I'm still torn on it. I don't know. I feel like it just, a lot of the times it feels like there's this huge gap in your lineup where I just like having a normal offlaner rather than having this just bizarre, you know, you understand why they're doing it. And, you know, this Meteor Hammer build is kind of clever. And we've seen people go for these int offlaners like Wyvern and stuff like that. But I always feel like they fall flat. But I mean, we'll see. I know it's really, really prominent in Europe. I'm seeing in like every single pub game, these OD offlanes. So.
Yeah, I've gotten a chance to play some of these games. I definitely agree with you. It feels very hit or miss, just kind of depending on the lineup. The faster paced the opposing lineup is, you know, whether it's instant stuns or having some sort of blink mechanisms or something to get on top of the enemy, the worse this OD feels. with his Meteor Hammer setup. But if it's a slower lineup, you know, it feels like you can actually just kind of like do this weird initiation just off of imprisonment and sitting way back with your Meteor Hammer, kind of daring the enemy. Go ahead. Come into us. See if you can actually take this team fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's in this game. It's like they had to throw, like you said, they have to throw it off lane, and he's in a horrible game anyway. So maybe it is the best thing to just put him in the sack role because he's fully countered, right? Yeah. Bat Rider ruins OD's game, Beastmaster ruins OD's game, all the summons like the panel mentioned. So, you know, they're putting him in the sacrifice, which is probably the best bet.
Yeah, and seeing as they already had their 2 supports, they couldn't really downgrade him any further than a 3 position. No. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of our CS matchup. As mid lane is with Urgon playing that last track up against Iceberg on the Bat Rider. Seems like CS is going pretty even here, and I haven't looked at that top lane too much, but I have to imagine this is probably one of the tougher lanes to go up against a Beastmaster with Shadow Shaman. Beastmaster with any of these like Linas, Wind Rangers, Shadow Shamans, any one of those really annoying, hard-hitting 4 positions. Feels like a tough lane, but if anybody can kind of deal with it, it's the Bloodseeker, right?
Absolutely. That extra sustain that comes in is massive. And also, I like Kevin's point, the blood rate, you know, it makes it hard for them to go. And they're actually getting aggressive on General. They're going to get him here.
Yeah, General just needs one more hit here, and Crystallize will be able to clean up that first blood. Gets a healthy amount of Thirst HP back into his HP pool as well. So he's going to be feeling really good about this lane. It just, I think Beastmaster is one of those offlaners that he's very tough to beat right now. But if you can manage to beat him, I do think this hero struggles coming back and having that same kind of overwhelming presence when he just, you know, goes for this Necro Book rush into Necro 3. You have that at like 15, 18 minutes and he's taking all your towers. You feel terrible. But if he gets it a little bit late, 20-25, you're usually going to have some tools to deal with it. As I say that, though, General putting the pressure on to Crystallize as soon as he comes back in a lane.
Cool to point out, too, that you see General skill build this game as well. He's just going for the axes rather than going for the actual boars in the laning phase. I guess he's just, there's too much clear. The Splinter Blast plus that Blood Right will just end up killing and he's just going to give up too much. He's just going for this approach. Kind of cool and different.
Yeah, we usually see when people go axes, it's usually just one, right? And then they just don't summon the boar until they're level 3 and have that higher HP boar. But he's really committing to this build.
Yeah, I think I honestly can't think of a better lane versus Beastmaster, actually. Like Wyvern and Bloodseeker, I'm just like trying to think off the top of my head what would just do better versus him. This just seems so damn good. Like you're just super tanky hero on the Bloodseeker. Like Wyvern is good later on as mid.
Really good job by Iceberg, forcing those kind of rotations and still backing off pretty easy. Top lane, though, does leave General alone as the Shadow Shaman who's rotating over the Power Root. And Crystallize and Solo read that opportunity loud and clear. They said, okay, the Shadow Shaman's going to be sitting on runes, which is very likely in this Bat Rider versus Leshrac matchup. Which, okay, at least they get a little compensation for it. Iceberg gets a very important rune in the Arcane.
That's a kill rune if I've ever seen one. You can take advantage of this so much with Sticky. Probably one of the best heroes in the game to get that early on, especially. So nice rune checking, but yeah, like you said, they take advantage of it. And Crystallize is off to a very hot start. And a lot of Navi's success has been off of General's success, of how much he can pressure and how much success he's having. So this is a really good start for them to at least slow him down.
What about Vtune? I mean, Kyle had some real praise for this guy, and I had to agree. Vtune has looked very good as a carry, but it looks like his lane, he's doing all right in CS, but when it comes to the levels, looks like he's had to share experience with the Chen quite a bit, as Roger is also level 3. Mid lane, though, Urgon's going to be dove here. Iceberg not wanting to dive too deep into the tier 2 tower, but will have to in order to get that kill. He'll take a couple of tower shots, might die, but he's got a Fairy Fire in his back pocket, so he's okay. No rotations to catch him out. He's got the bounty runes to pick up here unless the Winter Wyvern can get vision. Oh, he barely got vision. He gets a couple hits in. He's low enough that they've got the thirst as well. Crystallize is going to be there to clean up the kill. Okay, nicely done, Bloodseeker. The advantage of the Bloodseeker in being able to make those fast rotations, I guess. Yeah, that was very... Did he get the bounties as well, too? Okay, no, Always Want to Fly did, but yeah, nice little movement. And like we said, Arcane Rune, it's so easy to get those. Even without the point in Flame Break, he just literally chased him down. And yeah, I'm glad you actually mentioned Vtune, because I think a lot of people know this, but you can just look at the hero level, to that Platinum. This guy is a PL, Terrorblade, just illusion spammer. Yeah. And very comfortable. He's got a good support behind him, but it looks like Malik has done pretty well for himself. He's been given a lot of solo experience with Zayat's not even close to lane anymore. And I think they do realize that, and that's why they're really trying to push this OD out, but it's not quite working. Top lane, always want to fly, does go down to the Splinter Blast. Solo finds that opening. Oh,
this top lane is just owning. Oh.
This Batrider's just tearing things up. Feels like Iceberg is really going to make sure this laning phase doesn't get too far out of control to the favor of no Techies.
Yeah, it's huge that he can get this type of advantage too versus the Lesh, because I think, Kyle was the one talking about how Lesh, you're great versus all these summons, but there's going to be a problem where you're extremely squishy, and what better to take advantage of a squishy hero than Batrider to move him out of position in most of the team fights. There is the Nyx that's always going to be there to deal with that Bat, maybe counteract it a bit, but yeah, definitely going to see Iceberg putting a lot of focus onto this Lesh in particular in the early game. As bottom, Malik.
Smart move, very smart move. Just going for the TP out, knowing that he wasn't going to be making it out alive otherwise. He is getting very close to that Meteor Hammer, that just that straight, fast rush. Urgon got pretty lucky earlier. He managed to find the power rune bottom lane, and it's pretty much the only reason I think he could continue to lane against the Batrider, being able to have that illusion rune. Not typically one of your favorites of previous patches, but now that it dispels, feels pretty good. And they're going to smoke up with Giants and rotate down to bottom. See if they can kill the Phantom Lancer.
They'll have to settle.
Yeah, they'll have to settle as they run into Roger. The smoke breaks. Roger will die, and V-Tune is just able to hide behind his tower.
Oh, does Urgon not know though? There's 2 bounty runes over here. He could actually just claim. I think they scouted it too earlier. So he could just fill up his bottle, but it doesn't seem like he's aware for the time being. As top.
You have the Rupture. They're going to be able to hold back this Bloodseeker. General's going to turn and fight. That's his only option here, but it's not a great option. He will die. Crystallize is going to remain very healthy here. Iceberg's actually going to rotate over, though, and they might be able to catch Solo. In fact, they will definitely be able to catch Solo, as they're going to put a stop to his TP with the Shackles. This is well in timed with a top lane push of creeps as well, but the Siege Wagon is actually already dead, so never mind. Neither team going to be able to pressure the opposing safe lane tower.
Who got the last 10 on the kill was Iceberg, so that's pretty much Boots of Travel done. So he's going to be able to make these moves and be able to match a lot of the aggression that's coming out if Urgon likes to. And Urgon actually has a haste, always want to fly. Looking pretty dead.
Yeah, just a nice, easy opening. Always want to fly, throws out what damage he can. Iceberg is actually willing to kind of fight this, and maybe it's because he sees that Urgon is low on mana, so Zayats is dead as a result.
Good run away by Urgon. If he sticks around, I think he just gets lassoed onto the cliff.
Yeah, that's true.
And he will be able to back up, clear out a double stack, and go check those bounty runes, Urgon. Go check them out.
They're going to see it. They're going to check it out at like around the 10-minute mark when the fresh ones are spawning, and then they're going to see, oh, wait, there's still bounty runes here. I have to assume they just thought because there's a Chen down there, it's so easy for a Chen to kind of guard runes, even if it means denying them. But looks like Roger's been focused on stacking up the triangle in the last couple of minutes, as that is a hefty amount. Iceberg may try and clear through those, or no, they're going to make a smoke play up to top lane again, make sure the Crystallize, they've been really running a General, and they're going to do so again here. The Splinter Blast is going to land and slow down General. He's going to be caught by the Blood Right, but with Iceberg showing himself, Crystallize and Zayats immediately back away. Solo's going to be caught. I love this play. He's going to lasso up Solo and still try and run down Zayats at the same time, realizing that he may have to just commit for one of these kills. Zayats got to be careful of the flames. Iceberg's getting a little bit low. Primal Roar out onto Crystallize. Iceberg is going to use his bottle to stay alive underneath the tower and attempted to TP out, but always want to fly. He's going to put a stop to that one with Hex, Shackles, and a big, big rotation from Na'Vi that puts them 2K up. Just as the 10-minute bounty runes are spawning.
Love whoever makes that call. It's like Iceberg has to be the one to bail the game out of its, not bad state by any means, but bail a General out of his semi-bad lane. So he's the one who makes sure to make that rotation up top while the PL farms those stacks. I think Urgon did go down and get those, at least one of the bounty runes that was there sitting for a while. And they'll be able to transition to push bottom, but a huge hit from Na'Vi.
Hey, I don't like
General, he's back. He's got his book 1. I mean, 10 minutes isn't bad for how rough of a lane it really was.
No, not at all, especially since they have taken that safe lane tower, so he will have more real estate to work with when it comes to jungling with those Necronomicons. I especially like that aggressive push up to top lane because what is no Techies going to do? The only hero that can rotate in that situation is the Leshrac, and they kind of had vision of what Ergon was up to. It's not like Malik with the Meteor Hammer rush is going to be a big impact if he TP rotates up to top lane.
No, and like we mentioned, the OD is so countered in this game too. Like he goes up there, he's probably just food for the team of Na'Vi. And Ergon started his TP and canceled it, and that's when Na'Vi was just like full blown just diving the tower under. So Ergon definitely has to be a little more careful. Rupture on Iceberg, but he's fast. He can just get back to his tower.
They're going to catch Always Want to Fly as Malik did move over. They want to try and take this mid tower. And an opening and being able to kill this Shadow Shaman mixed with the Leshrac and Meteor Hammer. This is looking like a push that should manage to take it. So this will help even things out a little bit more for no Techies.
General is considering walking up here, just going to spam it with some axes. Not going to be able to actually look to defend it all, even though he does have Roar. But they could look to fight here anyway on Na'Vi. They could look to meet up with Iceberg up top with that Roar available in that book 1.
Zayat's going to do some scouting here with the Vendetta. He's going to run up and see a bunch of Phantom Lancer illusions as they fade away, and they will see him in turn thanks to the sentry left on the left-hand side. They're playing up on their triangle right now, just very happy with farming Ancient Stacks. They don't really need to go anywhere. That's the power of Ancient Stacks, right? This is the most fortified area of the map if you're on Radiant, and it means that you can just kind of play up here. Nobody's really going to contest you for that too hard because that team fight's going to be real difficult to take. And you're not really falling behind in golden experience when you've got that big of a stack to farm.
No, definitely not. It's always really nice. I mean, Bat Rider is now, it's so nice to be able to have Ancient Stacks and your Bat actually is able to just help you from all these changes. And yeah, Vtune, he's getting enabled nicely. Looks like he's going to have a good timing on his defusal. It looks like he went for the hood first to kind of protect himself, but yeah, he's off to a great start here, and we'll see if he does upgrade that one, as the panel was talking about. I think we did see Miracle in particular do that. They're starting to set up for him, though. They did have vision up here, but it's still tough to set up for the PL. It has to be the Nyx Assassin. It has to be Zayat's leading 90% of the time, unless they get a curse set up.
Yeah. Sadly for Na'Vi, their smoke rotation to bottom lane didn't really catch Crystallize, as Crystallize just a bit lucky, manages to spot Always Want to Fly as he pushes up to the high ground. Maybe just in general, a good read of him not pushing too far forward in the lane. Now he's going to be rotating up to top here, where they really want to try and take this fight. It's going to go out on Zayats, though. Zayats is going to be caught immediately. Still has the spike carapace, though, so he may be able to just waddle on out of here. He's good.
Okay. Yeah, he reveals the fact that there's a sentry and likely an obs or something up there. Just a sentry this time around, but at least giving some information for his team. And they can likely just back away now and reset, since all of Na'Vi, they saw at least 2 or 3 ports go up there. And even though Roar is down, it's still a kind of scary fight because this Chen, he has mech and Hand of God now. So they do have decent damage on their lineup, can get counteracted pretty heavily. But Na'Vi isn't a little bit of a weak point right now because they're finishing up these items. They're finishing up in particular the PL's Diffusal, which he needs in order to actually be able to get involved, while Bloodseeker can just start charging in every single time.
Yeah.
So maybe they do look to take advantage. It could be risky, though.
Let's see if Always Want to Fly is able to get out of kind of looks like a suicide rush, as he just ran down mid, planted some Serpent Wards as that fight was starting in the top lane, which is pretty smart, right? He sees like, okay, there's going to be a fight top. I can't rotate fast enough to really be impactful, so I might as well just hit this mid tower.
I like how he also did the caps locks ready, so I think that's probably saying, so maybe some panic going in there for him, trying to get the hell out of there. They pause while he's trying to split push, the worst feeling ever.
Well, he's going to have to, he could have maybe instantly TP'd, but if he TP's now, it's not going to be the case, so he's going to have to hide somewhere in the trees and hope Malik doesn't find him.
Here we go. He might be able to get the tower here, though, if Malik does chase.
He wasn't going to be able to TP right away. Then he does try it. It does not work, and he does die.
He's trying. Oh, they clear the wards, and they can get the deny if they'd like to. And they will. Solo's going to take that one out.
Where do you stand on the denying mid tower? Because I've heard some people be like, just almost never deny your mid tower just because it is so important to hold that real estate. And then I've seen other people like, they're just gonna like try and backdoor it or something. Just deny the gold.
I think exactly what Solo did is when you deny it. If you're gonna deny it, you have to get vision in this area to control at least. So he puts an ob sentry down immediately after he does deny it. So they at least still have not, of course, the control, but the information at the very least, which is Yeah, I think this is exactly what you have to do if you do deny mid.
Okay, I like that. I like that. That's a really nice idea.
Because then you can farm. I think everyone knows the mid wave to farm the scary wave. This one gives you an opportunity to be able to push that extra wave out because you do see the opposing high ground a little bit, especially during daytime. So
Malik, he's able to push out that wave pretty continuously from a safe distance thanks to his Meteor Hammer. And he's also pretty tanky now that he's got the 200 health HP talent at 10.
looks like we're getting some...
I'll go for it.
Couple new items too. Also, looks like bots also for Ergon. Now, I feel like Na'Vi, now they're fully enabled to get online. It's Bat Riders, BKB is about to be done, Diffusal's ready. This is a huge window for Na'Vi, I feel like, to take advantage. Because looking at the no Techies lineup, it's still mostly magic damage oriented. Sure, the Curse and the Bloodseeker's there, but a lot of that's going to just be completely... Iceberg doesn't have to worry about Nyx anymore with BKB. He just runs right through and picks a target.
Sentries spotting Zayats again. He's just not getting any opportunities to Vendetta up to this top part of the map. It feels like to me, Na'Vi, like if they succeed in this rotation, which they're going to go for Malik, they should be able to catch him pretty easily as they still have the lasso. He's not going to blow it just yet. Now pops it. Solo's looking for the Winter's Curse, surrounded with the Phantom Lancer illusions. He goes for a guess, but he hits an illusion, not the real Phantom Lancer. And now that means they're going to lose this fight and potentially be run down underneath their tier 2 tower. Solo's going to be up next. Impale going out. Bramble Roar on the left-hand side is Crystallized, going to be caught, swept up by the swarm of Na'Vi members that run down the mid lane. And from here, I don't know, Fogged, it's looking like a game where Na'Vi is just going to get farther and farther ahead. And I don't know if their lineup's going to be able to contest with a Phantom Lancer that has this much free space to farm.
Yeah, I mean, this is the issue. You know, Na'Vi, this is their bread and butter. They've got a super comfortable pick here. Sure, the Lesh, as we said, Lesh is good versus the PL, but that's the majority of it. The other heroes, they're pretty vulnerable to this, and Vtoon is off to a beautiful start, 16 minutes in. And Na'Vi, like we said, they hit this beautiful timing of everything together. BKB, Diffusal, Hood, and Malik, he just fed his life as Ergon steps very far forward.
Yeah, he's just going to take this fight, but immediately Iceberg's going to pop his BKB challenge Leshrac. They do have the imprisonment that's going to come out from Malik. Crystallized, meanwhile, going toe-to-toe against Vtoon. He does get saved by the Cold Embrace, but the magic damage is going to be there eventually. He's burned out, while the Phantom Lancer very healthy, and this is just turning into one disaster into another here, Fogged, as they lose 4-0 in this fight. No Techies probably going to lose their mid-tier 2 before 20 minutes, and again, all this is against a Phantom Lancer hard carry. That, you know, even if it's answered by the Leshrac, there's a certain point where he's going to get some big stat items and be really tough to deal with.
Yeah, and this is, I don't want to just straight up blame OD, the pick, by any means, but this is where I feel like this starts to happen, where you don't have this natural frontliner, and now either your OD or your Lesh or someone is caught in the front lines a lot of the times, and it's so easy for Iceberg. This last pick bat just has such an easy game at this point. He's versus a Nyx, as we said, kind of a counter, and there are some saves and all that, but he's amazing versus the Wyvern. And now, you know, BKB at such an early time, it's your counter of the Nyx is no longer there. So this is going to continue to be really difficult for No Techies until at least, until Crystallized and the Lesh, I feel like both have some easier way to protect themselves because they're just so fragile.
Yeah. I like the way that Na'Vi has played this quite a bit. This mixture of like pointed aggression at certain times with these smokes, but otherwise just kind of like playing around their triangle between the Roger stacks and the defensive sentries. With General occupying that area, it's always going to be a little difficult to catch him out, whether it's through the Hawks or the Necronomicon minions that are out. They just, again, by holding such a nice defensive positioning, they really took advantage of the fact of like you said, you don't have this traditional frontliner on No Techies.
Yeah, and I mean, Iceberg is literally just, he's ripping the whole game apart by himself. This is what you want your last pick to do. Even though, like we said, versus the Nyx, 9-1-3. You know, he's 12 of the 14 kills. He's just made magnitudes of space and just pressure for his team. Like General's game, as we said, he was having a rough time. Like, look at General now. It's like, did he have a rough time in the laning phase anymore? Because Iceberg just bailed him out of any type of problem he had.
Yeah, he's only being eclipsed by the Leshrac when it comes to the enemy's net worth. Hex into the shackles with the Serpent Wards on out. Malik is going to try and fight his way through those Serpent Wards. May have to try and go for an imprisonment on himself and a blink away. But Vtoon, he's going to spread himself out a little bit. Looks like the blink went down, but Malik may still be caught. Solo does manage to get a Cold Embrace. He's burned out of mana, but Vtune still hits plenty hard, and there's General on the other side of things as well. The tier 2 tower is just not safe. Nyx Assassin's going to be caught on the other side of the river by Iceberg as well. So even if Malik got out, the 2 supports will die, and Na'Vi full control of the map and very likely full control of Roshan.
They're making it look like their usual Na'Vi games that I've seen lately from them. Just extremely clean, very few mistakes, and yeah, it's really nice. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen Na'Vi playing with this type of like patience and just swift execution in quite some time. These last few months I've seen them have just been really top tier. Especially like I feel like they always get a draft that they're very comfortable with lately.
Yeah. Here goes the Roshan. The Aegis picked up for Vtune. And the pleasure of this for Na'Vi is the fact that they don't necessarily have to go high ground with this first Aegis. They can maybe take over the triangle. BKB going to activate. Iceberg jumps forward before he gets hit by Zayats with that Vendetta. And we're going to watch Solo die again. Okay, we're going to use the Winter's Curse as well as the Rupture. A lot being thrown down on Iceberg to keep him in position. They now have the Vendetta hit. Impale follow up, and Iceberg's getting a little bit low, but they're losing so many of their members just outside of their base. No Techies. Urgon's even struggling to get back, and that's it. GG. Well played, they say. I don't see how this lineup comes back from this kind of deficit, Fox. So fair enough to call an early GG in this situation, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm not feeling this offlane OD. If you're not having something else to be able to do like, he ended 2-1. Like it's not even like he did anything bad, but it's just I don't know what he could do. I think that was the first and only OD ult of the game, and it just doesn't do anything. And that's your offlaner who wants to be starting the fights or kicking stuff off or parking himself in front of towers or being this big team fighter for you. But what does he actually provide here? He didn't really provide much damage. He did okay in the lane, but then. Like, where was he? Like, where from 8 to 20 minutes, I don't even think I saw OD except for just dying, right? So
yeah. It felt like in some ways that OD and the way it got countered just created other problems. You know, they needed some initiation, but then there's a Phantom Lancer problem on the board. They've got to get this Leshrac pickup. The lanes get weird. And, well, as a result, Na'Vi just kind of roll over no Techies, kind of the expected outcome for this game 1. But hopefully things change up as you head into game 2, where we've got Kyle, Owen, and Sheever waiting to break this game down.
Thank you so